Hi, and welcome to Thanks Again Film Podcast, episode 14, Star Wars. The Force Awakens. I actually forgot the title just then. I was mixing them up. This one might be challenging. The other ones were challenging. The other ones were challenging, but I've been thinking about them for years. This one, I've never thought about thinking about the meaning. I've sat back and appreciated the detail of what it took to craft the movie. They take time and they care about the lore, and things pop up. For example, let me head on over to Audible. They actually care about the characters still. I know how that sounds. Of course they care about the characters. But it's more along the lines of even the background people in this movie. People are so excited about this. The people who are into Star Wars are into Star Wars. And I picked up this audiobook a while ago. Hold on, I'm gonna look for a year. Of course, it was around sometime after The Force Awakens. Delilah S. Dawson. I subscribe to her on Instagram. The Perfect Weapon. The Perfect Weapon is the story. It's on Audible. It's 2 hours. It's a story. I was excited I remember when I was excited to get through this one. Journey to Star Wars Force Awakens with this exclusive ebook short story set shortly before the events of the film, featuring a quick-witted mercenary who takes big risks for bigger rewards and now faces the challenge that will take her to the edge. I'm looking for a name. It's if I were playing a Lego game. I can't believe it. They don't have her name in the Bazine. It can't just be Bazine. I'm gonna look it up. Bazine Natal. You know who Bazine Natal is? Most fans, if you Star Wars fans, whip out and say, "Do you know who Bazine Natal is?" They'll probably say, "No, I don't have a clue." But everyone, when that movie came out, got excited to see who Bazina Tall was. Bazina Tall is the woman in Maz Kanata's bar, leaning against that giant alien guy. She was wearing black and white. She had I don't know what you call those. It's not a hat. A mask with the open face hole. A bodysuit. Bazina Tall was a human female mercenary. She was present in Maz Kanata's castle approximately 30 years after the Battle of Endor. Natal informed the First Order of the presence of BB-8 in Kanata's castle. She ratted the group out. She was a spy. But if she wasn't the coolest character, I remember before the movie came out, everyone wanted to know, what the heck? She has her own story on Audible. And it's awesome. Um, well, I'm gonna while I'm thinking, I'm putting together the next podcast on. I use Adobe Premiere Rush. It's low grade and powerful. You don't have to be smart. They dumbed it down so you don't have to fiddle and learn controls or anything. It's so. All right. The movie starts out with Poe Dameron getting in trouble. Is Poe Dameron and what's his name? Now I gotta get it on over to Wikipedia. I just had it and it flew away. The seventh seal. The seventh sign. Conan. There comes a time when jewels lose their luster, and all that's left is a father's love for his daughter. That is oh, I almost had it. It's Lars. No, Santeca. Lore Santeca. I remember He heads on over. I remember. He heads on over to talk to Lor Santeca. And there's a big mission. He's got the map that leads to Luke Skywalker. They need a Jedi. So far in lore, I don't think there are any. There shouldn't be. There are. My brain went to one of my favorites. Bear Sophie. Technically, Bear Sophie might still be alive. Bear Sophie's just as old as Ahsoka. I'm trying to think of the timeline. Maybe not. But they've got the map. Then Poe has the map. And BB-8 has a map. So after that, uh, they have a neat conversation, and he does his job. He's basically Leia in episode 4, where she's on screen and she delivers a message, and then he fades away into the background. And you see, after that, you see how important what they were up to is, because the Empire shows up and they just shoot everyone. They have a problem with everyone and they just start shooting. And they have a Sith with them. So for people who remember episode Return of the Jedi, the movie starts, Poe gets caught, BB-8 doesn't. And the first line of the movie, I remember it made people laugh. It was, "Do I talk or do you talk?" And past that, what I noticed was that Star Wars sounds different. It sounds different than other movies. It sounds like a fairy tale. The way something was done really right with the dialogue in this movie. where my ear caught it. My ear understood based on the first two conversations, and and I remember being so happy because people say that Star Wars sounds different. You can't write it looks different on the page, and people don't talk like that. Um, it's an adventure film. From what I remember, a lot happens in the beginning of this movie, and it matches up with the expectations from the trailer. And I get excited when I think about this movie. But then I know what happens later, and it stinks. It's not the ending that I wanted, but it's what they were going for. But it's a really enjoyable movie. A lot happens. Poe gets captured, and they drag him off into space to a space station, held prisoner. But before that, Finn is a stormtrooper that gets shell shocked because I think he's in battle for the first time, and he can't believe that they're running around shooting people. And there's a moment where Kylo Ren looks at Finn and he stops. And he's like, "Why aren't you shooting people like I told you to?" And he sees that he's scared. And he just keeps walking. There's a frozen stormtrooper. It's like there's this moment where two of the bad it's telling. It's very telling. Two of the bad guys in the story are not bad guys. If he sees Finn not doing his job, Darth Vader would have said something. He would have at least pointed. What happens with Kylo Ren is he says, "I understand." I understand. I am right there with you. I do not want to be here. And he keeps walking. And Finn is stuck. And he's like, I can't believe they're shooting folks. I don't want to do that. Then he takes his helmet off. And he's out of breath. So, post captured, and immediately what happens is Finn decides, no thank you, do his job, which is, if I'm not mistaken, lore wise, Finn was taken in no different than a Jedi. They snatch they snatch you when you're in grade school or younger, and then you're off to boarding school to learn to become a stormtrooper or a Jedi or something. And it's a little crazy that Finn would, if that's his story of he's been training to do this his whole life, and then they put him on the battlefield and his whole body just rejects it, and he heads back up to the base, and he finds a way out. He picks the pilot and they escape together. And it's so much fun. It's because the escape is like a bro high five. They're behind enemy lines, and he's like, "I don't want to be here. Do you want to be here?" "No, I don't want to be here." And they steal a car. I mean, a plane, a TIE fighter, and they run for their lives. So far, what's interesting, what's been said, is that the the main villain isn't a villain. I don't know what to make of that. In this movie, there's a friend group that forms. The three main characters is Poe, Finn, and Rey. They're the brand new cast. It's like Han, Luke, and Leia. I don't think they'll meet each other in this film. Finn meets both of them. It's clever. It's a clever movie. Um, then there's Rey. And I've over the years I've heard all sorts of stuff about how they wrote Rey and everything. She's supposed to be the perspective of a fan. A Star Wars fan showed up on screen. She's living in a down shell of Star Wars, which is fans taking in whatever they could because Star Wars goes away. And then she's wearing a Star Wars helmet, just soaking it all in. She's got drawings of Star Wars on her walls. Star Wars toys. But it's cleverly done because in world it's real stuff. It reads as stuff in her environment. And she meets BB-8. She meets BB-8, and I don't know how I feel about it. BB-8 is not R2-D2. I kid you not. He's a cute droid. BB-8 is a cute little droid. But my opinion when that movie came out was, you are not R2. And the little droid has a lot of charisma. That little droid was in the paintings, the Ralph McQuarrie paintings. That type of droid. Somewhere, I heard. I haven't seen it exactly. R2 is in the Ralph McQuarrie paintings. How come R2 can roll on Jakku across the sands? Let me think about that for a minute. The movie starts. Poe Dameron, Poe Dameron is saying, "Thank you for the map. We're gonna look at this and keep it safe." And then he hands it to the little droid, and they're off in the wind. And he runs to his plane, and he's like, "Run for your life. Do your best." And then the next scene, Rey's at home, and R2-D2 rolls by. R2 rolls by, and he's asking for directions. I think it's a completely different idea. I'm trying to think. BB-8 rolls. R2 does. That little ball droid's fast. R2 would have asked for directions and said, "Can you please point me back to base? Can you please take me back to the outpost?" And she would have hopped on her motorcycle and had to drive really slow. It's a different movie. I'm saying this because R2-D2 is actually in this movie. And he's asleep. They put him to sleep. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about it. Years have gone by. I'm a fan. There's fan stuff to say. I'm a fan, but I don't know what to make of R2 and 3PO. 3PO has dialogue. He has dialogue and character change, and it's neat. They put R2 to the side. But there's a depression in this movie. Ray is so lighthearted that something happens where it's like, oh, that's their lot in life, and they're making do. That's life. It's work, struggle, and you make do. Sometimes you get cheated. She looks for useful parts of scrap, sells it at the junk dealer, and that goes to, they sell those as used starship parts. It's expensive equipment too, I bet. But what she can afford is a loaf of bread. But she has a motorcycle. She probably found that thing. There's a bit of depression in the beginning of this movie when you meet Ray. She's alone. They have scenes of her scrubbing parts and looking longingly. She's she's described visually as an abandoned character. It, there are hints that says Star Wars was abandoned. Um, it's difficult. I can't wrap my head around the idea that Ray was living. It's a type of living paycheck to paycheck, but all she can afford is a loaf of bread every day. Just a bite of bread. She runs out and works all day. Doing stuff where she could fall and die and all sorts of weird stuff out in the sands. And she gets back to the outpost. And it's worth a loaf of bread. He's paying people in bread. That's some kind of weird poetry. And it's green. To suggest that it's no good. It's to suggest that it's money and that it's old. What she's eating is old. She's okay. She's enjoying old Star Wars. And it's moldy. Star Wars is stale old bread, and she cooked fresh, and just, and she's enjoying it. Hard-earned money. This is what you spend your hard-earned money on. That's someone's sense of humor. Um, the movie switches. It goes back to Finn. Now, I remember there's something that upset me with Finn. A couple things. That was the treatment of Finn. He goes back. It's a kid's movie though, and I just let it go. But when I watched this, Finn's out in the desert and he's struggling to survive, and he walks all the way back through the sands. And part of me wanted a mature moment, this movie to. It's so playful, and then part of me wanted to see something that was, I don't know, a little more serious and mature, something along the lines of Miyazaki. And he has character moments where characters need to walk and explore and figure out where they are. Finn goes back to the base, and it's a comedy bit. He just survived. Technically, he survived, and his brand new friend possibly died. And then right afterwards, it's a comedy bit. And watching it, it threw me off. That he gets back to base. I hate that it sounds like a serious tone. It's a movie. But he gets back to base, and he starts drinking from the water trough. He just is that water, and he dunks his head in. It's an outpost. I'm sure there's a water fountain somewhere. I'm sure there's a bar. Does he have money? Probably not. But maybe Poe had money in his pocket. You never know. It's storytelling. But there's a moment where he's like he's drinking from the pig trough, and then the pig says, "Scoot over." And that's the hero of the story. And I don't see for me personally, I didn't see the humor. I hate to bring things down, but it bugged me. Uh, what would have been cool, I know, that's the other thing. When people go over Star Wars, they start rewriting it. They say this would have been cool. But if anyone had the chance to write something, they wouldn't pick any of it. You'd have to start from scratch. That's somebody else's imagination that you're enjoying, and you have to be appreciative to some extent. But Finn drinking from the trough, it bugged me, because that scene has been done better. And I'm pointing at Lawrence of Arabia, where he marches back in the town from the journey in the desert and he asks for a lemonade. And it every time I watch this movie, I'm like, why couldn't they just have him walk up to a bar and ask for a lemonade and have them be broke and then turn around to see if he could figure something out on how to get a drink. And then he sees Ray. He sees Ray for the first time. And it's humor. It's a lot of humor. It's funny. It's a bit of love at first sight. For Finn, for Finn, it's love at first sight. And then there's the other thing. Me watching this movie, I am not a Raylo. They did something with Star Wars this time where the the underlying message of these movies has something to do with marriage. So it does technically if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is uh, a series of stories that are detailing life messages on how people can be of service and of use to their community and a better person in the world. Then the first one is about starting out. The next one is once you get your bat mitzvah. That's not how you say it. Once you get your bar mitzvah and you grab your spear and you head on out, you're what happens next? And then 7, 8, 9, I bet, thinking of it now, I bet it's some sort of focus on marriage, which is the the other end of life, of where you, I mean, is how people continue. Is you find a partner and you settle down and it's happily ever after. Some people adopt, some people hit the lab, some people get older and have to hit the lab. But one 7, 8, 9, I bet is about once you find someone, how do you treat them? Once you find someone, how do you treat them? And what is how do you know that they're the one for you and that you how do you know that you picked the right person? I think that's what 7, 8, 9 I bet is about. Um Let me see what happens in. I feel like that's a great place to stop, but there's other stuff in this story. There's Death in the Maiden. When Kylo Ren meets Rey, She can't move. And the dark figure sweeps her off her feet and carries her off. There's... I don't know what... I'm not sure what the lore is. I mean, the mythology. But it's a dark journey. It's a type of dark journey that Kylo Ren's on. And then it's over. Thinking of romance, what I was saying, I am not a Reylo. But I honestly thought that Finn and Rey would be the couple of the story. They have a friendship that has so much charisma. That's something I have to, when I'm talking about 789, that's something I have to look at. Is how come it isn't Finn and Rey? Because that's where my mind went. When I said it already in the other podcast. Finn sold out the universe just for a hug from Rey. One more hug. That's a little more than friendship. Anyway, there's these stories are looking brighter. I'm gonna stop here. It's been about an hour. Thanks for listening. I might say more about episode 7. I don't know. But thanks for living. I mean, yeah, thanks for living. Thanks for listening. Be well, everyone.